Hey folks, McGie here. In today's video, we're hopefully going to work up the rest of this meat. It's been hanging in this cooler 42 days. And as you see, no mold, no deterioration. It looks great. This cooler, the way it's set up, it sucks all the moisture out. So you're not getting the mold, which some people like the mold. I'm happy without it. But anyway, we're going to get to cutting this up. We got the hind quarters and the front quarters. If you remember right, the backs and the ribs were hanging here. We got them worked up already. We just weighed this 212 pounds, which is why we didn't include the halves of the back and the ribs in the quarters. We separated them off because that's a lot of weight. 212 pounds right there. And these guys, I believe, weigh more. We may try to weigh them after a while. But let's get into cutting these up. We're going to cut off the top here, which I believe to be the sirloin. Then we're going to take a knife and start divvying up the sirloin tip, tri-tip, eye round, top round, bottom round, and all that good stuff. So let's do it. We are basically cleaning up and deboning these big sirloin steaks, and I want to show you after 42 days the meat just is falling apart basically, and it's from the hind leg, so it's typically a little tougher, typically a little drier, but I think I'm gonna be able to eat that just fine. Wouldn't you say, Tommy?
I reckon so.
It looks like it's just falling apart.
It's ready to go on the grill right now.
Yes, let's do it. We have got the bottom round right here. I'm just going to do a center cut and show you unbelievable marbling. I had a guy last week say, you fed that beef entirely too much grain. Well, let me show you. This is why we fed it entirely too much grain. All this fat that's layered around on the outside of the animal, that's not why we did it, but that fat doesn't go to waste either because it is unreal good to fry with that grease. But this right here is hardly seen in an Angus. I mean, we're marbling in an Angus. So he was 4 years old. That has something to do with it. But we fed him 5 gallons of grain a day, plus a wheelbarrow load of silage. And you know my boys, when they have a job to do, they do it right. And that's what they did. They fed him until we've got round steaks that are actually very marbled. Will they be tender? I don't know. I haven't eaten one yet, but I'm pretty excited to see the way they look. All right, this is the sirloin tip, and I'm just filleting off this outside right here. And what is in here is supposed to be the tri-tip, and I don't know if I'm doing it right. I am not a butcher, I'll be honest with you. But I'm gonna try, and this may be part of it right here. I don't really know. But I'm just gonna keep going and see what happens. What do we got there? We're about to the end of it, ain't we? This is the problem with depending on YouTube for your knowledge. YouTube don't really let you show a lot, so when you're trying to figure out how to butcher, a lot of times you don't get real good information because it all has to be obscured. You can't show very much. So I know for a fact this is the sirloin tip. I'm gonna make steaks out of that. I think this is the tri-tip right here, and I screwed it up. I do believe I screwed up the tri-tip. So let me just try to salvage it right here. We got our fat. I believe this is the tri-tip. I'm just gonna see what kind of steak it looks like a tri-tip makes. That looks really good. So I'm just gonna stake it out like this. And when the kids are eating it, I doubt they're gonna say I ruined it. I mean, we'll see. If they do, maybe I'll just eat it for them. And I'm just gonna quickly cut this side. You can trim off your old fat edges that has a little bloody look to it. And there you go. Tri-tip steak. Okay, this is the sirloin tip. I'm just gonna cut right down through the middle and see what we're dealing with. I've never dealt with it before. And there it is. It don't look too bad. It's not bad. It's got what looks like to be sinew, but I've heard that the sirloin tip sinew is not, that it cooks up soft. So I'm gonna make steaks out of it and just see what happens. These trim pieces will go right in the grinding meat. Boys, they are in charge of cutting fat, bone, and grinding meat. So the bone will be made into broth, and the leg bone is perfect for making broth. The grinding meat obviously is going into burger, and the fat will be made into tallow, rendered down. Very good. Thank you, boys. You're welcome. All right, these are the round muscles, the muscles off the rear end. It's called round. I believe this here is the top round, it's just got so much marbling in it, and I'll show you. I just can't bear to grind it up or even make jerky with it. I mean, look at that. And we did a test run and we fried up some, and it's tender. It's not bad at all. So I think that when we fed the 5 gallons of grain per day, I think it give us a lot more steaks. That's my opinion anyway. It's just simply amazing to somebody like me that has chewed the tough meat many moons. It's a whole different ball game. Oh, look at that. That's unreal. Unbelievable. So don't blame me next time if I'm feeding 5 gallons of grain a day. People that say it's far too much, they just don't know what they're talking about. But I don't care if they wanna do it their way. That's why each person can do it their own way. But I want to do it like that right there. All right, I've got Miss Grace here. She's going to try this round steak and see if it's of her liking. What we're mainly worried about is tenderness. I don't know if there's any other boys. Do you want me to cut that down some?
Yeah, sure.
The boys kind of ran off. Do you have any thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Terrible?
Mm-hmm.
Would you give it a thumbs up?
Mm-hmm.
Folks, I want you to take notice. She knew we was making a video today. She wore her black dress.
It was also on the plane.
It was? Okay.
So,
eat all you want, Miss Grace.
it's really good. It's tender, and it actually tastes good.
Yeah. Well, I put camp dog on it.
Yeah, of course.
That does make a difference. You can eat all you want. I'm gonna eat some more myself because I'm afraid I might get hungry too. All right, David is cleaning up some fat, getting some meat off of it. I am trimming up and cutting these steaks right here, and these are called sirloin tip. They are in front of the leg, about right there on the animal. Hind leg. And they're not a bad looking steak. I don't think they're gonna be as good as a ribeye or anything like that, but they do have marbling and they do look promising. So we're gonna eat some tomorrow and see how they are. And I may just drop in and give you an update. We're in the jerky business now. We've got a bunch of eye of round. We're going to start slicing this up. Some beautiful meat, very lean. So we're going to start it, and we're going to go for about a 3/16 inch thick slice. And it's going to look just like this. And I'm just going to let them pile up there and let David bag them. Miss Grace, what do you think about that? This is actually the next day. We're going to try to get both of these chucks done up. But first, we want to weigh this booger. I am suspicious, according to how it felt when we brought it in, it weighs more than the 206 pound hind quarter. So we're gonna get Dave and we're gonna do this. I gotta deal with this, get this hooked in there. All we have to do is pick it straight up and come this way just a little bit. Uno, dos, tres. Up and it's off. Here it goes, down a little bit right there. Easy does it. What'd she say, Joe?
Don't touch it. 238.
238 pounds. And we zeroed it out with this, so that's the real weight, 238 pounds. We're going to cut off this shank, cut off the breastbone so that we can get the brisket off. The chuck eye steaks are some of my favorite. We'll cut them out. We're gonna make some roasts. We're going to cube up some skew meat to can in jars. And we're gonna make steaks if it's anything like that hind quarter and it's all marbled up. Plenty of that stuff going on. Let's do it. I'm thinking, you think we ought to get an ice chest to put it in and roll it out there instead of trying to carry it?
Probably easier.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, okay, oh, easy. They'd be ready to help. Yeah, all right. Okay, oh, we tipped the whole saw.
Oh, all right. I'll be counterbalanced.
Okay. Turn it a little bit this way. Okay. Slide it on through. Pick up.
It catches on that lip down there.
Okay. Look at that. Unreal. I just took off just a tiny bit of meat there. Perfect trim. That was a pretty good weight loss program.
How heavy do you think that chunk was?
That was probably a good 70 pound maybe. Crazy how that worked out. We'll see how this works out. We'll take it upstairs, make some chuck eye steaks. It worked like a charm. I'm almost forced to just trim this back so that we can get it up here. Will that go?
It looks like it will. It doesn't look terribly exceptional.
No. That's what I don't know. Let's try one. It ain't bad.
I'd eat that steak, especially that one.
Yeah. separate.
Black tub.
Right here, be fine. Alright, this is the top of the shoulder with the chuck eye on it. I'm just going to start slicing. Now, once I get this up there, I think I'm going to cut it in half. Basically, these aren't cleaned up yet, but this is what a chuck eye steak looks like. Gives you a good idea of why we even want to use the chuck eye steak, because it's marbled up nice. This here is the brisket. It's got the bone in and it's got a lot of stuff that has to be trimmed off, so we're just going to start trimming it. This is one part that kind of feels overwhelming because there's just a lot here and you're always afraid to mess up. So if that's where you find yourself, I just say, just start whittling down on it. Don't go hacking into the middle of it. As long as you're whittling down a little bit at a time, you'll be all right. And if you mess up and completely screw it up, there's nothing better than a good brisket burger, right?
Amen.
Alright, just like that, that's the bone out. I was able to get it and stay close to the bone the whole way. That's always a tricky little thing to do. Grace, do you like brisket?
Yeah.
I think I remember one time you said that was the best thing in the world to eat.
Yeah, it's the best kind of meat too.
Yeah.
So good.
Evidently, the dog thinks so too, because she's going too good.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
What's
ma'am.
that? Blue meat.
The blue meat, that's where it's set in the cooler and it aged. So we're just gonna cut that part off.
Isn't it tough to eat?
Probably. It may not have the best flavor either, so we're just gonna cut it off. Wow, look at that. Ain't that something?
That is classic brisket look right
Ain't
there.
that? It's got some huge veins of fat running through it, but it's just not like me to complain about that.
No, it isn't.
All
Over my back. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Didn't blow out.
Uh-huh. Did it work?
I think it did.
Perfect. All right, folks, what we're doing now, we're taking these steaks. Miss April is going to be scraping the bone dust off. I'm probably going to be cutting the bone out of a lot of them and trimming them. And then we'll have Miss Katie throwing them in the package. There's no telling what Grace will get into. She might try to fry some and eat them while I'm not looking. But either way, You know, Grace can do no wrong in my eyes. I just have to make a joke for the people. It's for the people.
Where do I put the ones that are done?
So put them right here, and I will
Where?
get them ready for your mom. Right here on this pile. Grace is finishing up the last few steaks, and I want to show you a roast. Ho, ho, ho. That's a roast right there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to make it into 2 roasts. But first, we will trim it up and get rid of this bone. I have no need for the bone. Also, there's a shoulder blade right here. We're not going to cut it out because it'll mess up our shape. What do you think of that?
I think that looks pretty.
Is that a chocolate?
Yes, that would be a chuck roast. Right here would be the flat iron steak if I had gone that route. The flat iron steak is right against the shoulder blade, and you have to fillet it off and then cut out this hard cartilage. So you get a flat iron here and a flat iron here. Which I was thinking about doing, but it increases your workload by quite a bit. So, I'm just not in the mood to increase my workload when I can have a beautiful roast like that.
Yeah.
That is beautiful, Miss Grace. All right, folks, we've got the second big shoulder cut up. The kids are down there cutting up the burger meat in the cooler. But we're working up these chuck steaks, and I was given a request from headquarters for stew meat. So that's what we're doing right now. I am cutting up little cubes of meat, about 1 inch by 1 inch. She's gonna can this stew meat in jars, so that's gonna work out great. This knife seems to be a little sharper right now, so I'm just gonna use it. I'm gonna try to put this 10-inch Victorinox knife in the descriptions where you can always have access to it. As of right now, I haven't done it, but hopefully by the time this video comes out, you can drop down in the descriptions and get yourself a 10-inch boning knife for these bigger jobs. It's absolutely vital. Wouldn't you agree, Grace? Yeah. So, in the meantime, we're about done with this, folks. All we like is finishing cutting meat off the bone, and then we're going to grind the fat, and then we're going to grind the meat, the burger. Alright folks, it's time to grind the meat. We like to have a good bit of fat content in the meat, so when we trim it, we just let her rip. We don't put full fat content in because you would just have a little bit of meat with your fat. We do have a lot of fat that we're going to grind later for the, tallow, grease. So we're going to do that now. We're going to start grinding. As soon as these boys get me a pail ground, I'm going to start stuffing it into bags, and we'll start sealing it up with the help of the young chaps. Let's do it. Alright, we got all our burger ground. This is the very last of it. I'm fixing to fill up the hopper one last time. And as you see, the boys are grinding the fat. This is the fat that was in excess of what we needed. Well, we're going to probably take your advice. Some of y'all asked me to mix some with sausage when we make some deer sausage. I'm going to try that out. But a lot of it's going to be melted down and made into prime grease. Folks, there you have it. That is the process of our steer. I hope I did it clear enough to where you can actually understand, and maybe if you get a chance to do it yourself. We're just wrapping up here, finishing up the fat. That's the last of the Mohicans on this deal. So we're going to get on out of here. Hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you on the next video.